Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is Ask Your Assessor of the City of Detroit. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is Ask Your Assessor from the City of Detroit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know I get excited when city officials come. Why? Because some of you have questions and don't know which way to turn. So today, we asked the City of Detroit's assessor, Mr. Alvin Horhn himself, to come and join us. Good afternoon, Mr. Horhn.
Good afternoon, young lady, and thank you for the invitation.
Well, thank you. Now, Mr. Horhn, you know what? A lot of people don't know what the assessor does, and so we ask you to represent the City of Detroit and tell us a little bit about yourself and your job as the assessor.
Okay. Well, as the assessor for the City of Detroit, my job is to identify, to value, and to identify, discover, and to value all real and tangible personal property in the City of Detroit. So literally, I'm the tax man.
Okay.
We figure out where all the value is, we assign a value to it, and then we forward that value to the city treasurer. They assign a millage rate to that value, and presto, you have a tax bill.
Okay. So are you like the good guy, bad guy, or in between guy?
If I do my job right and you agree, I'm the good guy. If you don't agree with the values, then I'm some idiot who just made numbers up. And then we explain the process to show you how you can challenge those numbers if you don't like them. I don't look at it as good guy, bad guy. It's a necessary evil.
Okay.
All the services that people like, the streetlights being on, the police coming when you call them, that's all part of property tax.
Okay.
If you like your streetlights on, if you like the buses running, if you like DWSD and pure water coming through your faucet, part of that is possible because everybody in the city pays property tax.
Okay. Now, normally we get this slip in the mail. I think it's a yellow piece of paper.
The assessment notice.
Okay. So can you break down what the assessment notice means? Because a lot of people get confused when they see it. They say, oh, my taxes is going up. Or, oh, my God, they're going to up my taxes if I do something to my home to upgrade it. Is that true? People get confused like that.
No, it's not true.
Okay.
The assessment notice is the start of a process, the property assessment process. And it starts with your assessment notice. Every person in the state of Michigan who owns property will get an assessment notice. It tells you what the assessor believes the value of your property is. So there's three numbers on it that people really have to pay attention to. The first number is the assessed value. And under Michigan law, that's 1/2 of the market value of your property. So the market value is just what we think your house would sell for.
Okay.
So if you get an assessment notice and we say your assessment is $125,000, it's because we believe the market value of that property is $250,000. The state equalized value and the assessed value are usually the same things. 9,999 times is the same thing. The SEV, the state equalized value, is simply the county and the state agreeing with our number. So it's a 3-tier process in Michigan. The local assessor comes up with a value, then it's confirmed, it's reviewed and confirmed by the county equalization director and finally the state tax commission, and those two numbers should be the same. Okay. The third and most important number for most people is the taxable value, because that's the number that you pay property taxes on. It is not linked to market value, and that's really the most confusing thing for people.
Okay.
During the recession, when people saw property values going down, they were wondering, well, how come my taxes didn't go down? For the same reason that when the values are high, your taxes don't go up. Okay. Taxable value is a separate calculation. It has very little to do with the market value of your property.
Okay.
The assessed value is 1/2 of the market value of your property. The taxable value is the capped value of your property.
All right.
It's the assessed value times whatever the millage, it's the assessed value times either 5% or the consumer price index for the year, whichever one is lower.
So question, so when some people are concerned about they're upgrading their home, but they don't want to report the upgrades, so what effect is that? I mean, I'm looking at it like, well, wouldn't you want to know or let the city know that, oh, my house has been, remodeled and things like that. And people say, no, I don't want them to know it because they're going to raise my taxes. Where did that notion come from? Because that's been for years.
People just believe it. It's one of those things that people believe. Before I started working for the assessor's office, I thought it was true. I'm going to let you in a little secret. We have a copy of every permit that's issued in the city of Detroit. Mm-hmm. We know whenever you've remodeled your kitchen, redone your basement, put on a new roof, added windows. And we're not up there increasing the value of your property because of that.
Okay.
So repairing your home, modernizing your home, that doesn't increase your tax bill. Mm-hmm. One of the few things that you could do that wouldn't increase your tax bill, say, for example, your house is 1,500 square feet, and you add an addition to it, and you increase it to 2,000 square feet. Then that $500 addition is new to the property. That 500 square feet would increase your tax bill, but just for that 500 square feet.
Okay.
So you'd actually have to do something substantial and new to your property for us to go out there and increase the value of the property because of it. We would never increase the value of your property because you remodeled your kitchen, remodeled your bathroom, or put a new roof or windows on there. That's just maintenance, and we don't value on that.
All right. Well, today we're taking the fear out of people thinking, I just knew they was raising my taxes up because I got an addition to the house. But an addition is different than, like an extra part of the roof or a room or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. It is very different.
But kitchens and bathrooms and stuff like that, you can look at the pool permit and know that the person has done something to the home. Exactly.
We rarely pull a permit and go and look at somebody's house.
Okay.
Because you expect someone to, at some point, modernize their kitchen, modernize the bathroom, put new windows in, put a new roof on. If you own a house, at some point, you're going to do all those things. We want people to do that. If we start increasing your tax bill because of it, people will stop doing it.
So what is a homeowner to do that disagrees with the assessment?
Detroit has the longest appeals process in the state of Michigan. It starts at the beginning of February. It goes through the end of March. The first step is called the assessor's review. It's very informal. It starts February 1st through February 22nd. You simply have to contact our office. You can do it by email, you can do it by a phone call, you can come down there and simply tell us that you disagree with these values. That's what makes the assessment notice so important that you brought up earlier.
Okay.
Because those are the tentative values that are going to be in your tax bill. The most important thing I can tell people, if I don't tell them anything else, by the time you get your tax bill in your hand, it's too late to challenge the value. You have to challenge the value when you get the assessment notice. The state of Michigan gives you a window to challenge how your property is valued. You have to do it during that window. Once that window is closed, it's closed.
Oh, wow.
And that tax bill you get in July from the city of Detroit, you can't now scream, this isn't right.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a break because somebody's at home saying, what? And I had a complaint. But we're going to take a break and come back with some more good questions.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. And get your pen and paper out. You know you want to know these numbers. Get your pen out. We'll be right back.
If you store your guns properly,
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
And I won't have to tell my kids, this isn't a drill.
Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Always lock it up.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are just now tuning in, let me say this. I know you got your pen and paper out because you have some questions. And even if Mr. Horhn can't answer your question today, please feel free to give us a call in our office, 1-800-323-5336, or email me, Marsha@JustAskTalkShow, and say, I have a question for Mr. Horhn, okay? So don't think that you can sit there and say, well, I missed my opportunity. At least get a head start to know what you need to do next time or help another family member out with some other information that their assessor's office does. So I had a question for you. So how does the assessment go from your staff's office? What do they do?
Okay. So it's a server process. The first thing we do is we look at sales in the city of Detroit. State of Michigan requires that we look at what's called a 24-month sales study. So for 2 years, we look at every sale we can get our hand on. Whereas a quitclaim deed, a warranty deed, a land contract, we look at every single piece of paper we can get our hands on. From there, we determine which ones are market value transactions. A market value transaction is one where a willing seller and a knowledgeable buyer reach an agreement on a price. It was exposed to the market, it makes sense, either party can walk away if they don't like it. So in our last 2-year sales study, we looked at about 65,000 sales. We used about 15,000. Those were deemed market value sales in the city of Detroit. From there, it's really just statistics. And that's the part people kind of don't get about the assessment process. It's not voodoo magic. It's not hocus pocus. It is statistics. That's all it is.
But do you visit every home or every property or majority?
No, we are required to look at 20% of the houses in the city of Detroit. About 6-7 years ago, the Detroit City Council passed an ordinance, and that was as a result of some of the questions that happened during the recession when assessments were out of whack. Part of that reform was to require the assessor to visit 20% of every house in the city of Detroit. So we look on an average at about 44,000 houses every year, the residential property appraisers and our staff. And it's a combination of going to the property and looking at, actually sending the appraiser to that house. They take a picture, they take measurements of the house, they determine the condition of it, or looking at aerial imagery. The city of Detroit has invested heavily on both aerial and street level imagery. So that's a big part of our working process.
Well, that's a safety net, because people are looking at, why are you on my property? Or
That
I think I recall some time ago where somebody would come out and give you a card and say, this is from the assessor's office, and everybody freaking out like, no way. So.
And that's just, thanks for bringing it up. We don't have badges. If you tell us not to come on your property, we're not going to come on your property.
Okay. All right. Well, as dangerous it is now, I don't think you want to do that. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
But that's the start of the assessment process. We look at the sales throughout the city. We vet those sales to determine which ones are market sales, and then it becomes statistics. Right now, for valuation purposes, the city of Detroit is divided into about 288 residential neighborhoods, what we call an ECF. That's how we value property. It's an apple-to-apple comparison. Bungalows to bungalows, two-family flats to two-family flats. East side to east side, west side to west side. We would never value a house on the east side to a house on the west side. So it's a very compact, very structured system. We look for the sales in a particular neighborhood. We don't chase sales. That means if your house sold for $200,000, we don't automatically say the assessment is $100,000.
Okay.
What we do is we look for a range of sales of similar properties, and then it becomes statistics. Out of that range of sales, we throw out the high end, we throw out the low end, and then we look for the middle.
This sounds like a lot of math here.
It is a lot of math.
I know, and you guys have to be, pretty mathematical. Okay, so we have a few photos that we want to go over and, have you tell us what these events were.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, let's take a few photos. So I see you're in business there. What's going on?
That is a community event on the west side of Detroit. This is from a couple of years ago when former Mayor Duggan was first talking about his land value tax. And we were going to different community events discussing it, how it would impact residential property owners, and how it could lead to lower property taxes for individuals.
Okay, all right, so move right along.
This was a community event over at, and I think this is Northwest Activity Center, but don't hold me to it.
Okay, so now I know every year you guys do, what is the HOPE? What is it called?
Healthy Homes.
Healthy Homes.
Okay.
I should have known that. So
Yes.
is this one of the partner programs to Healthy Homes?
Not this one, but that is one of the most important things that we're a partner with.
I bet you we got one coming up about the
we got
Healthy
one,
Homes.
yes.
Okay, so now I'm not mistaken. I kind of tell.
That was that one, a Healthy Home event.
That's a Healthy Home one. Okay.
What the Healthy Home event? It is a group of community partners with the city of Detroit and some of the city agencies that are involved in helping people buy a home and stay in their home. The assessor's office, the part that we play is explaining to people the tax process, the steps that you can take to make sure that you can stay in your home, that you understand the process.
Great. That's great. Okay.
And that is some of my key staff there. The two ladies who are sitting there, Sandra and Mauricia, they're two of our sharpest people. The young lady who's standing right next to me, she is the coordinator of all these events for us. Her name's Kristen Tolliver, and she's our assessor board coordinator, and she is a godsend.
You guys make your rounds. So I noticed
she makes me look good.
Well, you all look good. So I noticed that Mayor Sheffield, in her first executive order, directed your office to make changes early this year.
Yes.
Okay, so as a part of a continued effort to gain trust in the city's assessment process, tell us about that.
Okay. So the mayor issued an executive order in the first month of office, and they addressed 3 specific things. One was a modification of all the residential neighborhoods. The second was adopting standards from the International Association of Assessing Officers. And the third was a mass appraisal report. So the first is the one that most taxpayers would touch them most directly. We said earlier that we had about 288 residential neighborhoods. That's an increase from the year before. Before it was 208. So what we're doing by modifying our residential neighborhoods is we're creating smaller gaps where we value property. In the past, a neighborhood might have about 1,000 parcels in it. 1,000 houses, I should say. No one understands what parcels means. It's a bunch of assessors.
I got it. Okay.
Might have 1,000 houses in it. That may or may not reflect the sales. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes you've got too many houses in one block. And what we've been doing is we've been carving the blocks up into sub-blocks to better reflect what's going on in a particular neighborhood. By the time we're done at the end of this year to comply with the mayor's order, we'll probably have somewhere around 330 neighborhoods in the city of Detroit for valuation purposes.
That's great.
So that's the first thing. The second one was to adopt the IAO standards that don't conflict with Michigan law. When the current mayor was formerly the council president, she led what's called the property tax reform ordinance. Part of that called for an outside evaluator, the International Association of Assessing Officers, to come in the city and confirm, are we following Michigan law or not? So they issued their first report last year. Thank God they found that we were following Michigan law, we were compliant, but they made some suggestions. I'm not going to pretend everything was perfect. It wasn't close to being perfect. We're complying with law, yes. Doing a good job, yes. But there are some things we could do better. The second part of that order is to concentrate on those things that we can do better. And that is, and specifically take racial standards that the state of Michigan doesn't require, but adopt them for Detroit's purposes to make sure that we are opening that window up as wide as we possibly can, that we're looking at every single crevice to assure people that this process is transparent and that it's fair.
Diversity.
Right. The third one is a mass appraisal report, and that's the one that's near and dear to my heart because no one else in the state of Michigan does that. It's something that larger jurisdictions throughout the country do. And it is basically, you're opening the cupboards. You're taking a deep dive into all of your practices, and you're letting everybody see exactly how you create your assessment roll.
Okay.
Every sale, every step, every single thing that's used to calculate value in this city will be part of a mass appraisal report. And that's going to be, the first one's going to be issued in 2027, and from there we'll do one every other year.
Wow. I know the residents in the city of Detroit really do appreciate this opportunity to hear more about, your job and your team and what Mayor Sheffield has put in place. So we're very honored to have you. So I tell you what, we're going to take another break and we'll be right back.
Ever get the feeling life is sneaking up on you and you're in over your head? YourLifeYourVoice.org is a collection of ideas, interactive tools, and expert advice. It's time to come up for fresh air. YourLifeYourVoice.org.
And welcome back to the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I always tell you, if you like to talk to these ladies and gentlemen that you see on the show, always reach out to us at the Just Ask Talk Show, and we'll be glad to connect you. So today, we're very appreciative of the Office of Mayor Sheffield for allowing her assessor, Mr. Alvin Horhn, to join us and to give us some insight about what the City of Detroit's assessor does. So please, by all means, you see the number at the bottom of the screen or look in the credit roll, and you can actually reach out to each and every one of these individuals to find out more. And definitely take a visit to the office and, ask your questions if you're not sure about your property and you've got questions. So always remember, these people's doors are open to you so that you will have a better understanding of what the services are in your city. All right. So I want to make sure people know that because a lot of people are intimidated when they come to an official building and say, well, what do we do here? Or where do I go? And not sure about what they need to ask. So we really appreciate you coming to join us today to give us some insight about the assessor's office, especially yourself, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so now I know we have something called the top 5 things to know when buying a home in Detroit.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, most of the houses in Detroit are sold through quitclaim deeds or land contracts. Perfectly legal. But buying a house that way requires that you know a little bit more than most of us know about buying a house. So the 5 things that we've been talking about this for about a year now, and the 5 things that we want everyone to know about buying a home in Detroit. The very first thing you should do is go to the Wayne County Register of Deeds site, the Wayne County Treasurer's site. If you buy a house in the state of Michigan and it has delinquent taxes on it, you now are responsible for those taxes. So you need to check the county treasurer's website because there's a free charge. Just type in the address and it will tell you if there's any tax liens against that property. Once you buy a home, you bought those taxes.
Wow.
The same thing with the Register of Deeds office. With a quitclaim deed, there's no title insurance. So and deed fraud has become a problem here in Detroit. In part because so many homes sell because of quitclaim deeds. As I said, that's a perfectly legal way to buy a home, but you have to do the homework. And the most important thing you can do for yourself is make sure that the person you're buying that house from actually owns the house.
Okay.
And the quickest way you can do that is go to the Register of Deeds and ask for the last deed that's filed and make sure that that person's name is on that deed.
Okay.
And then, to be on the safe side, ask for the deed before that, and then ask him who he bought the house from, and make sure that person's name is on the deed.
Wow.
Now, if you're buying through a mortgage company or you're being financed, a title company would do all this for you. If you're going to buy a house through a quitclaim deed, if you're going to buy a house through a land contract, you need to do these things yourself, and those are the 2 most important things you can do.
So what happens when it's a family-owned home and the matriarch passes and the child gets to acquire the home, but there's no will?
Then it becomes a little messy, particularly if they didn't put anyone else's name on the deed. If you're a parent, if you own property and you want your children to have that property, then take steps now to make sure that your wishes are known and that they're carried out. Because once you're gone, I guarantee you, everyone might have agreed while you were still here, but once you're gone, people want their share. They want what they think they're entitled to.
Oh, yeah.
So put your wishes on writing. If you have a daughter, you have a son, and you want them to have that house, put their name on the deed now.
Okay.
You can still leave your name on there. It's still your house.
Right.
But if you pass, when you pass, because we all pass at some point, their name's already there. They already own the house.
Right.
So
And it stops the probate issue.
it will
Well,
make the probate issue
less.
easier.
Okay.
Because it's clear if you put their name on the deed, it's clear what your intent was.
Okay.
It becomes harder for someone else to come out of the background and challenge it.
Okay. All right. And that's a lot to endure because, as people are passing on and family members are taking over their house and the argument between siblings about who gets what, or it's only one person and they're entitled to the house, but they don't want to put in a quitclaim deed, but they want to live in the house. They're just living there. And I tell a lot of people, I say, well, you can't apply for any grants or home repair or anything or receive it because your name is not on the property.
That's a perfect segue because you're right. There are abatements and repair and grants that only the owner of the property can qualify for. You can live in the house for 40 years, but if your name's not on the deed, you don't qualify for it, and the house isn't yours. Just because you paid the tax bill and you're keeping the utilities on, that does not make that house yours.
Yeah.
We see it every day. It was Grandma's house, and now it's mine. I've been living here since Grandma passed. Well, the house is still on Grandma's name. She died in 1970. You have four brothers and sisters. 2 of them are gone. So now their kids are entitled to a share of that house. And that probate issue has become a nightmare.
And a lot of people don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear
They
it.
don't want to hear that. I have a few more photos that I wanted to share with our viewers. And I think this also helps people feel better about when they come to these events that you guys have, because we do know you have one coming up. So is this another one of your...
This is another community event that we hold.
Okay.
One of the things we want people to know at these community events is, for most of us, our house is the most important asset that we will ever own. You have rights as a property owner, and you need to understand what those rights are. And it's my job to explain those rights to you. So ask the questions. I don't know what you're thinking unless you tell me what you're
Well, I
thinking.
see this picture here is definitely showing that you and this lady is having this conversation about something with her house. All right, so the next photo we're looking at is your lovely staff.
Yes. On the first floor of the Culminate Young Municipal Center, where our office is what's called the Detroit Taxpayer Service Center. That's where the staff from the Office of the Assessor and the Office of the Treasury are there to answer any taxpayers' questions. So if you need to speak to a person, and a lot of us just want to speak to a person, come down to room 136, first floor of the Culminate Young Municipal Center, and you can talk to staff in both the Assessor's office and the Office of the Treasury, and
Now,
we're there to help you.
You guys have a home, let's see, what is it? You have something coming up, and I always kind of mess it up.
Healthy homes. Healthy homes.
So tell us about the Healthy Homes. So it's coming up.
That's something that the city's been doing for about a year now.
Okay.
Started earlier this year in February. We do it once a month through October. And that's where a collection of community partners and city agencies come together and help people through the process of home ownership. We explain what your rights are, the things you need to look for. We can put you in touch with financing. We can put you in touch with people who can assist you if you're having problems paying your property taxes, if you need home repair,
Wow.
if you've got bills that you don't know how you're going to get paid. Please, and we say this at every community meeting, if you need help paying your taxes, say something. We don't want your house. We certainly don't want the county to take your house. Eric Supri doesn't want your house.
Right.
Mayor Sheffield doesn't want you to lose your house.
Yep.
If you have problems paying your tax bill, the City of Detroit has payment plans. It has community partners that we've worked with who have been very successful in making sure that people stay in their homes. So
Okay.
if you are don't let pride keep you from picking up that phone call.
Thank you for that. I hope people are listening. So we're going to close out with this last photo. I see Mayor Sheffield is grinning here about
Yes.
something wonderful. So what's going on with this beautiful
This
staff
was the
picture?
first executive order that Mayor Sheffield signed for her administration. And it was
Okay.
directed at the assessor's office. And it was a way to increase transparency and also to assure the property owners of this city that everything is being done legitimately and fairly.
All right, all right. Well, before I close, I do know you have a Detroit Nonprofit 101.
Yes.
So in my last minute,
Okay, so what we're doing, this is an opportunity for us to work with all the nonprofits in the state, the people who are doing the heavy lifting and helping Detroiters. We're trying to help them understand what their rights are. This is how you become a nonprofit. These are the steps you have to take. We're bringing the Building Safety Engineering Department, Detroit Water Department, Detroit Land Bank, the Ombudsman's Office, the County Treasurer. We're all going to be there, and we're going to answer whatever questions you have to help you do the job that you're here to do.
okay, now is this a monthly meeting also or just?
This will be the second we've done over the last
Okay.
4 months. The first one was geared toward churches. This one is geared more toward general nonprofits. And the
Okay.
plan is to make this an annual thing.
And so what's the phone number they can call?
The phone number for the Office of the Assessor, 224-3035. That is one of the numbers. If you can't get anyone at that number, 224-3040, that is the number to my office.
All
And
right.
someone always answers that phone.
Okay, you put it out there. Okay, so Mr. Horhn, will you come back and join us again?
I love the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the city of Detroit is very proud to have you on board because you gave us a wealth of information, and I appreciate it. Please let Mayor Sheffield know we appreciate her as well.
Thank you very
All
much,
right.
and I will.
All right. Well, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask, and you know what I always say. Reach out to me, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what a show idea that you have in mind or a person that you'd like for us to interview and get the word out about the services that they provide. But what is my favorite saying? If you have a question about a person with a disability or if you just have a general question, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. Thank you.